I'm a furniture maker. I work primarily in solid wood. At the moment I've been making a lot of footstools, longer benches. They're solid wood frames with different kinds of weaving, so I've been using seagrass and Danish papercord, which just gives a kind of a mid-century modern aesthetic. I'm realising I'm quite inspired by vernacular traditional Irish furniture. So say with weaving woven seats, you're able to repair them, and they also kind of demand repair at a certain point, and that kind of builds a relationship with the work over time, which was about using what was available to make what you needed for your home. To be shortlisted or to win, it's interesting. I'm quite early in my career, and I've seen people who've won it previously and what they've gone on to, the kind of work that they're doing and the business that they've been able to develop. And so it's very encouraging at this point in my career to be among that company. The things that I'd like to do and the prize money associated with the award would be really beneficial for that.
I studied ceramics in Crawford College. I've been teaching ceramics for the last 22 years. This year I've taken a step back from teaching and I've set up my own business. I get as much out of the process of making as I do with the end result. I've just recently started doing a functional range. One of my most popular projects is called the Mindful Mug, and it's based loosely on the Japanese tea bowl where there's no handle and you need to really connect with the surface of the mug. I wanted to share with others what it felt like to be grounded using soft clay. The financial aspect of winning such a huge award would be just massive to such a small startup business like mine. Being able to outsource some of the business side of things, it would give me time back to really get back to what I love doing most.
So my father was a metalworker and he was very good friends with a silversmith named Peter Donovan. So I spent a lot of my childhood in the workshop of Peter. I went on to study silversmithing and jewellery in Glasgow. I have been making any kind of objects in metal, from jewellery to hollowware to trophies, all kinds of things for 20 years. There's two very distinct but completely intertwined aspects to my work. On one hand, I develop objects that create a contemporary context for ancient endangered skills. And on the other hand, there's the educational side to these works, where I try to explain to people how the works were made and all of the elements that had to come together for something like this to exist. It has always been a dream of mine to be shortlisted for an RDS Craft Award, and I'd really like to dedicate 2025 to try to place my work internationally.
8 generations of my family have been working stone. I'm the first generation that's a stone cutter and a sculptor as well, and I got an apprenticeship with C. McAvoy and Sons in the village of Ballynockin. A lot of it is conservation work, whether it's traditional lime mortars or sculpture and carving. It's a really nice mix of work. You can see in the workshop here, like everything within reason is Irish. The roof here is all made out of Douglas fir. It's a traditional post and beam roof. The timber is actually from Wicklow. All the granite that's been used is a 10-minute walk up to the quarry. I love Irish art. If you look at images in the Book of Kells and you think you've seen it all, and then suddenly, I've never seen that detail before. I'm really delighted that I've been nominated. It's a good way of showing the change of times, how it's not seen as just a trade anymore.
I'm a weaver and a knitter. Really, that started for me when I came here to NCAD. I had an introduction to loom weaving. So when I had that tactile feeling, something that I could just do, I really fell in love with it. A big part of my design process is actually the materials. A lot of the yarn that I use is industry waste yarn. So I've worked with different factories and mills to take yarn from them that they would no longer be using. Some of them would actually be sending it to be incinerated. I really try and take as much of that waste product as I can to turn it into something new. This jumper that I've knit is 100% waste yarn. To win the RDS Craft Award would mean that I can continue to create. As somebody who's kind of starting out, it can be really, really hard to find your footing. It's really nice to know that somebody else can see a potential in what you want to do.
My background originally was in oncology physio, and I went back and retrained in goldsmithing. I've released 5 fine jewellery collections. So I'm really inspired by the way that our old buildings interact with the natural world. When a building falls derelict, it tends to be reclaimed by nature. So that kind of symbiosis, that interaction between humans and the buildings that they create and then the natural world, that also gives real depth and texture and colour, which is really interesting for me, obviously, as a maker to try and represent in my work. The textures can be given to the metals by using different techniques. There's some really interesting gemstones that actually look like mosses and ferns and trees. To win an RDS Craft Award would be absolutely huge for me. The real practical support that it gives financially. There are very few, if any, awards that give that kind of practical help.
My practice ranges from object making to site-specific work, and I make mainly sculptural pieces from glass and from found objects. I ended up going back to full-time education in 2017, and it was from there that my interest from glass just grew. The concept behind my work at the moment anyway is based on women's work and how women are valued or undervalued and underrepresented in rural families. The cushion piece that I've made out of black glass came from that idea of that weight of labour, that weight of care that women carry with them. It's me using glass, that material of glass, to say something through my work. To be shortlisted for something like the RDS Craft Award is amazing. It can put your practice in a whole different trajectory.